Thank you, Jim. Good morning. Good morning again. I left some part of the banana, the big musa, that I didn't present it. If we have time today, I'll pick it up at the end. But today we're going to work on the Incas, okay? And this section, I'll begin with the section on the crops and livestock produced by the Incas in South America. We went through the Aztecs, essentially a bellicose tribe, and then the Mayas were very impressive and very disgregated. Now we have a real nation. It's something in the order of an organized nation with a government and so on, very contrasting with the rest of what occurred in the Americas. And that's the Incas. We'll go through root crops, grains, fruits, textiles, cordage, vegetable crops, beverages, animals. If you think the rest of them, what they had, they had the turkey, and pretty much there wasn't anything else. Well, unless you count iguanas or something like that, okay? But here is different. These guys had vicuña, llama, guanacos, and guinea pigs, okay? That's your guinea pig, all right? In Spanish, they would say conejillo de Indias. I hate that name, so I prefer the native cuy, from which we have in Spanish curiel, okay? Sounds better, okay? And it is significant, I repeat, that these people did have cattle, and these people did domesticate animals, and so that contrasts with the rest of, the Aztecs, Mayas, and so on, didn't have anything like this, all right? We'll come back to that. And talking about Columbian exchange, here you have it. The old burro, this was taken about some years ago, the old burro, and you got the llamas there, all of this was integrated. Now, animals changed, and very much a part of the culture. Okay. The Inca Empire, a little bit, and we'll come back later, was very extensive. It went actually into Colombia, all the way down to Chile, specifically the river Biobío. That was the southern part of it. So you had, right away, you had mountains and all of that. Also, very difficult terrain to work on. A lot of mountains, high mountains. And they started out, you can get arguments, but from 1438 of the current era, and ended with the arrival of the Spanish in 1525. So this was, if you compare it to other throughout the world, was really a very fast empire that was created, all right, by all these various Inca. The Inca was the boss man, okay? No argument about it, because it's very centralized. We'll start with root and tuber crops. If we compare the old world with the new world, okay? I've shown you some of these before, and it is here, the potato, that we're going to start talking about. It is in the nightshade family. There is no doubt, there is no question about it. It originated in the high Andes, and here he's showing you plant it and grows, and you get tubers. You get tubers. The origin was here. in the highlands in Bolivia, in the area between Bolivia and Peru. And from there, it found out through the empire as it developed, okay? This is through the centuries, the people in the highlands developed from a very minuscule, actually very small potato-like thing, and they developed all of this by manipulating genetically what was available. So today we have thousands of different types of potatoes. All of these are potatoes, okay? Still, some of these pictures I took myself some time ago, okay? And it shows that it's still pretty much being grown. Some are modern types, some not so modern, and the type of terrain that they have to. Remember, you're talking very high, you know, we're talking in terms of 5,000 meters, okay? The potato, the Spanish immediately adopted it and took it to Europe. And it shows here the dates of introduction to Spain, 1570, India, 1610, over here, early 1800s. And in actual fact, I can tell you, this surprised you, potatoes really were not of any importance compared to what they are today. Up until the late 1600s, okay, beginning of the 1700s, there were no potatoes in Northern Europe, for that matter, even in peninsular Spain. They were not really grown that much. But all it started changing when the 1700s started. The first European potatoes, so-called European potatoes, were taken, I repeat, from the high Andes, and they landed in, the Spanish took it to the Canary Islands, okay? Plant Introduction Station. This was established in the early 1600s. I already said that, by the Spanish, because they wanted to have, to look at that what they were bringing in and see if there were problems with it, and they weren't sure that they wanted to have that in peninsular Spain already. So it was established right here in the island of Tenerife. It's still going on, by the way. It is the oldest plant introduction center in the world. And recently, DNA and I'm sorry?
It's prudent. It's smart of them to do that.
Well, for whatever reasons, you know, they had thinking people, you know, so they say, well, let's look at this thing. And recently, DNA analysis were made, and the land races that are grown in the island of Tenerife correspond to what we know were originally in Bolivia in the high Andes. So we know that at least those are still around, and we have a handle on what the Incas were and predecessors were dealing with. I'm repeating, were introduced, somebody introduced doesn't mean accepted. It was introduced, subsequently spread by European mariners, okay? And this is the situation. From that place there, look at it. All over the world. Literally all over the world. Figures. The People's Republic of China. This is millions of tons a year produced. India, Russia, Ukraine. What would the world be? What would these people do without potatoes? Okay. In terms of the potato responsible, this is important, for a quarter of the growth in all world population between 1700 and 1900. So that's that recent, okay? Resulted in a sharp degree of food dependence in Northern Europe. Remember, this is a cold weather plant. Just absolutely what the doctor ordered for Sweden and Germany and so forth. Each of those little dots is 2,000 acres, okay? So that gives you, in the early 20th century, the degree of dependency now, dependency on this food crop. Mother Nature. Say, Mother Nature, see, it's not nice sometimes, you know. The Irish became actually turning into a monoculture. Potato after potato after potato, and guess what? This guy shows up. Blight, potato blight. It's been a little, it's not a nice story, okay? You see it out there, and the field looks nice, okay? One day, two days later, might look like this, or like this. And that's the tuber, and the tuber is bitter. You cannot eat that thing. So there you had a whole island population, a major portion of which depended on this crop that was now under attack, you know, by this fungus. This is from 1845. It was the first notice that something was awry, something bad was happening in Ireland, okay? And in fact, soon it will be 50 years, we owe to this problem, to this fungus, the establishment of an International Potato Institute, and that was done much later, 1971, still going strong, for the purpose of studying the potato, looking at the genetics of it, creating varieties, so forth, doing science on it. There. And those are pictures of the actual field that they have. It's kind of nice. They right next, you walk out, and you're right on, like we used to have it here, and you're out in your experimental field. That's what we like to have. Well, they got it. Okay. But why so much fuss? This fungus is bad news. It reproduces sexually and asexually, and it is continuously producing new races. You throw a resistant variety to it, and it won't be long before it adapts to it and it destroys it. So you need to have this constant battle. If you are going to rely on potato, you're going to have establishment dealing with the genetics of the fungus and the potato. Well, the fungus didn't come from. You can ask, well, why wasn't that the Incas had trouble with this fungus? It wasn't there. It was here in Mexico, in the town of Toluca. We're that precise. In the town of Toluca, there was no potato grown by the Aztecs, okay? So when the potato was brought there, this fungus found a beautiful host. It was feeding on some other plants there, and it went literally bananas, excuse me, okay? And then it was in Europe, then went back to the place of origin, and it started devastating the Inca original potatoes, okay? Look at the drop, yeah, in acreage. That's worse. There was this. Books have been written about this. The English have been accused of genocide. Genocide. Period of 1845 to 1849, the wild geese. You had to get out of there because, or you will die of hunger. Approximately 20 to 25% of the population left. Okay. This is the population development in Ireland, okay? And then after, and this is Europe. It is this dependency on that one single crop that caused the problem. I'm not going to get into the politics of this. It says Britain's genocide by starvation, Ireland's Holocaust, 1845 to 59, over 1.5 million deaths, okay? This the Irish have over there, okay? The problem was that while this disease was devastating the potatoes, the English were exporting food to their mainland, okay? And you can read books about it. It's a very serious matter. Whether you agree to use the word genocide or not, okay, but that many people did die. These are the various counties, drop in population, 15.3, 25, 28% drop in population. Think of Auburn, Opelika, and you lose 25% of your population. Quick. Wow. All right? Let's get back to the Incas. Of course, they had cocaine. And I want to show you that they even had a god for it, okay? But this is the way they would use it. Like we use tea and drank it. But it didn't take long. They took it to Europe, and they found the active principle, cocaine, and since then we've had problem with cocaine. The Incas didn't have that problem. They used it as a tea, okay? And it was an important crop for them. This is from me, years ago. And you go on the market, and you can buy coca leaves as much as you want, okay, no problem. And this is a eminent mycologist in one of our visits there, and he found this bag, and he was, here, Rod, look, smell it, okay? Coca. Get back to potato. Potato does not keep, that tuber, if you want to keep it until the next season and so on, no refrigeration, it's going to rot, okay? They figured out how to freeze dry it. Freeze dry it. And that is called, and I'll show you how they do that, chuño. Chuño. It's a freeze-dried potato traditionally made by Quechua and Aymara communities. So they figured out we're going to, in the off-season, we're going to have some food out of this potato. How do we keep it? Okay. Remember, you're in the southern hemisphere. Okay. So that's June and July. So that's in winter down there. The potatoes are harvested. They spread closely, and then they kind of walk on them. During the night, they freeze. During the day, they thaw, and they walk on them, small potato, and extract the water out of it. Okay. It takes time, but this is the potato. They put them, they walk on it, and the whole group of people are doing that, and they obtain a product that is called a chuño. And it looks like this, and you can keep it for decades. Yeah, years. It keeps, okay? And you cook with it. Here's some more, close up. This is what chuño looks like. You go over there, and this lady will sell you, here, take it home. If I take it home, I don't know what I do with it, but they do, okay? Let's leave the potato. So established that potato from the Incas and other tribes, the Incas, remember, were latecomer to the game, was very important, but they had others. They had other tools. Remember, I keep repeating, you're in the highlands. Your choices are few. You're not in Alabama where we got, some kind of winter and so on. This is cold and tough to survive. Okay. Arracacha, okay. See this? Here's the scientist again. See, we always tell you something. Xantho risa. Xanthos is yellow. Yellow root is what it says. And it says, I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of yellow. The flesh is yellow. So this is a very important crop. And now it has extended. It's no longer just in the Andes. You find it in Asia and so forth. So we have a Colombian exchange situation here too. Oyuco, that's another one, Oyuco. It is in the Basilaceae. For us, this is what it looks when it's growing. When you harvest it, here's the crop. So it's a potato-like thing, but it's not in the nightshade family. So these people were always looking around for something, and, something that we can keep, we can grow, and, and maintain an energy source, a food source, okay? Oca. Here's another one, okay? This looks like what we grow around, the little clover-like thing that we grow around for ornamental. And if you dig it up, you'll find that it has little bitty tubers. Well, they worked on it, and the tubers got bigger. So it's another source, okay? This is the farmland. It looks kind of bleak. You're in the highlands, altiplano, okay? Altiplano. 3,000, 2,000, 3,000, even 4,000 meters, okay? Okay. But in there, you see, in there, every now and then you look and you see this blue thing growing together. And we in the agricultural sciences, intercropping and so forth, rotations and so on. You know what that is? It's a legume. It's called tarwe. Tarwe. Isn't that beautiful? They learned to grow it together with other things, including with potatoes and so forth. They learned that this thing would sustain fertility. Not only that, they learned to eat the seeds. Okay, the seeds were good for you. And that's what the seeds look like. But you cannot just eat it like that. It's bitter, okay? You must get rid of this bitter thing, which will be bad for you, okay? But it's simple. Boil it in water. You get rid of that thing, and then you can do all kinds of, you can eat it directly, okay? Or you can make some flour-like thing, all kinds of dishes, okay? Soft seed coat, easy cooking. it didn't. You said, well, why did it catch on in Europe? Perhaps because of this bitter thing, and they had other things. But it was relatively late when this is lupins. We're talking about lupins here, okay? They can eat them like that. Guess what came from the Incas too? Peanut. Peanut originally, I get arguments about that, and I'm a peanut man. You know, I did a lot of work on peanuts, and it's still, we don't really know exactly where it came from. We are sure that it came from South America. There's no doubt about that. Some people say that it came from the desert, semi-desert areas of Uruguay, and somehow made it all across the South America and wound up in the coastal plains now of Peru, of what later became the Inca Empire. Okay. I think we all know that peanuts are produced, you know, not above ground, but down in the soil, okay? You have it. Here's the plant. That's the gynophore, we call it, and those are peanut growing. Here, as it forms, okay? If you haven't seen peanuts, please go south, go anywhere in Alabama now, and you can find patches of peanut being grown and so forth. And of course, out of this, peanut butter and oil, okay? And if you manage it correctly, it will help you enrich the soil with nitrogen. It's a legume, so it fixes nitrogen from the air, okay? But you have to manage it correctly. Here, we don't do this anymore. We just dig it out that way, flip it, let it air dry, okay, and then combine it, and you got your peanuts. Well, what evidence do you have, Ron? Are you talking, you know, we're talking about it came from South America. Well, I'll let this speak for it. These are mochi. Jewelry. See the peanuts? There's a peanut. That's something they carry water with, you know, come on, in the shape of peanuts, all right? This is mochi. This predated the Incas several hundred years before, okay? So we got peanuts. And this enterprise, okay, and he did us a favor, Charlie can talk about it, a monument to the cotton weevil, okay? Because peanut came in, the cotton weevil could not do peanuts, okay? So in Alabama, and indeed through the southeast and everywhere, you know, where you can grow peanuts, we get rid of this guy. And we owe a lot to this man for what we know about peanuts, okay? So Columbian Exchange, wow. Aymara and Incas and Alabamians now, okay? All right. It doesn't stop. So our tribe had a gift from them, okay? Naranjilla. Naranja is orange, diminutive, naranjilla, little orange, all right, little orange. What on earth you're talking about now? I'll go back to the nightshade family, same family as the potato. But this is different. This is a fruit, okay? Solanum, nightshade, Solanaceae, okay? Quitoensis, that means it's from Quito. Well, it's in Ecuador, it is in Colombia, it is in Peru, so forth. That's what it looks like. I've grown it here in Alabama. Not too happy, but I did manage once to get a few fruits out of it. That some are not too good for it. But look at the size of that thing. And these are the little oranges, the little naranjilla, okay? And what do you do with it? You have in your patio, like a little shade, okay? Out in the fields. It's grown all through this Columbian Exchange again. Okay? Drink the juice, okay? And it's called naranjilla, that's formal. But I like the Colombian name, Lulu. Like Lulu, it's crazy, okay? It's a crazy thing. It's delicious, it really is delicious. They're gonna deal. It's got a little bit of everything, not compared to what we had last time. But it's a juice. It's like orange juice or something like that. A different flavor. It has a little bit of everything, so it's good for you. Okay. Get some. Is it gonna end? I mean, I keep showing you fruits. I keep showing you things. But it was that big. They had that many things. Here is pepino dulce. This is what it looks like. Growing of all things in a pot, okay? Remember that this family, we have the tomato, okay? We also have this, okay? Well, who grows it? Beautiful flower. Reminds you of the potato flower. Well, it's in the same family. Okay. There. You cut it, you eat the flesh directly, but it's called dulce. That's sweet, sweet cucumber. It translates pepino dulce, sweet, quick cucumber. Okay. It's a perennial, but you'll be better planting it, you know, every year. It grows fast and very adaptable. You now find it all over the world, you know, and not necessarily in a specialty markets. You find them, it's available. You know, you got to go to a large city or something like that. But we could grow it here. Here's the strawberries growing together with pepino dulce, okay? In a greenhouse situation, you make money with it. The fruit is common, Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru, Chile. That's all overseas. It does not travel well. You'll be better off growing it locally. Okay. The Moche again liked it. You know, these people that were in the Peruvian coastal plains, they like it. So that's okay. I'll skip this. You got all of this in the handout, okay? Beverages and stimulants. Sorry about the letters. Beverages and stimulants. From the old world, you know, we covered coffee and tea and so forth, cat, whatever, marijuana, and then coca, all right? Well, you already talked about coca. What are you talking about now? I'm talking about corn. Corn. Corn is a beverage. What on earth are you talking about? You all right? Yes, yes. That's chicha. Chicha. Okay.
What about corn whiskey?
What?
Corn whiskey.
Corn whiskey. That's a good one. Okay. Columbian Exchange. It's my favorite. Okay. What do? You take corn. Yeah, yeah.
It is fermented.
I'll go through it. Okay. You take that. Here, they germinate it. Then they chew it. because you have ptyalin in your saliva, which breaks down starch into glucose, which then is fermented. Sounds awful, but it works. And this is what they're doing. See that? You ferment it, you mix, you chew it, I'll show you, chew it, and then you have this things, fill it up, they ferment, okay? And it takes time, and you go and remove the solids and so forth, and then you end up with this. And corn has many colors, so you want it white, you want it pink, whatever, all kinds of color, but they all chicha. And one thing I found out that was a little disturbing to me was that they always give you some big glass of it. I'm talking like a liter or a liter and a half, and you're supposed to drink that whole thing. I mean, talking about too much of a good thing. I mean, that's okay. Not only that, here's what these guys are doing. See, they're chewing it. They're chewing, then they put it there, from there to there, as the fermentation processes. And here, see what I mean? That's the kind of glass you. Here, have some chicha, okay? Oh, Lord. She seems to be enjoying it. And in fact, they wanted to share it with their dead. You see, they would bring the mummies of past Incas and so on, and they shared chicha with them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is more my kind of stuff. Pisco. Pisco is a brandy. Okay. Now the Incas didn't have this. They didn't have this. And the Incas didn't have the grapes to go with it. So this came across the Atlantic. And it wasn't long before the Spanish said, no, that's the same thing they did with tequila. He said, no, I got to have something more substantial. So this is nothing but white brandy. Moonshine. And it has a special aroma to it, okay? It's called Pisco. The people who developed it came from northwestern Spain, Galicia, and they have a drink there called orujo. Anyway, and the orujo is made from the leftovers of the wine making. The bits and pieces of seed coats and things like that, okay? So they had to have it, so they got Pisco. And they would store it in things like this. It kind of reminds you amphora, you know, and they would store it there. But there was no wood involved or nothing, no aging or no oak or anything. This was just pure moonshine. Okay. As you would expect, there were not only alcohol, but other things, and through this storage, it would react and gives you this aroma. It's very aromatic, very pleasant. Okay. Okay. What they were, it's a method of conservation. When you get your wine and you don't do anything, there's something called the vinegar eelworm. It gets in there and pretty soon converts all the alcohol, because the eelworm has bacteria, and it will convert it into vinegar. So to stop that, you add moonshine. So you fortify the wine. As is done with Madeira and Marsala. Okay, those types of wines. So Pisco started out that way, but then they said, well, no, we're going to have this stuff straight, okay? It's important historically, because the first and main, for a long time, the first and main trading going on between Australia and Chile was Pisco, okay? So I put here Waltz and Matilda, okay? So you get the Waltz and Matilda, right? So that's they liked each other. So I'll come, I'll pay you, and you give me Pisco. So that went on for the better part of the 1800s. Chilean Piscos, Peruvian Piscos, Ecuadorian Piscos. I haven't found a Colombian Pisco, okay? But they all argue, no, mine is better than yours, and it gets into that. But Pisco is here to stay. We lost him. He should have drunk more Pisco. Didn't get to him in time. Okay. Anyway, we go back now to the animals. These are camelids. They've been in the Americas for a long time. You got alpaca, llama. The llama is for textile, for meat, all around. And it can carry weight, okay, some weight. All right. And then cuy. Here, you can eat it, okay? I've been offered that and eaten it, but I think we should stop at this point, okay? And let's take about 5 minutes, and then we'll finish off with these guys, okay? Okay. We're gonna. You see right here, you see cormorants and all these birds. The coastal area, Chile all the way up to parts of Ecuador, there is what is called the Humboldt Current, which is cold. Lots of fish in there. And if you have fish, you have these guys, okay, coming in and feeding. And they gorge themselves, and then they do this. And that is guano, bird poo-poo, bird poo-poo. So then I said guano wars, okay? We are in the 1840s, 1850s, so forth. They didn't have Bolivarian republics then. They just had republics, okay? And the world, perhaps not everybody, the Incas certainly understood and used guano. And they would go, and these islands are near the coast, they will actually take guano and put it in their, take it uphill, and you know what the hill is, and they would incorporate it in soil. So it was fertilizer. Maybe they didn't understand the why and why nots, but they knew you put this thing in and you're going to get a good crop, okay? So, okay, in comes the Europeans, okay, all right? The 1840s, so forth, even before, Indian things, okay? But then they saw the results. There was need for fertilizer material in Europe and the US. You couldn't be walking around and putting a fish and another fish and another fish. No, 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 no. We got to have something. And this was it. It was just huge amounts of centuries, perhaps millennia of accumulation of poo-poo, okay, guano, all right. Companies were established to sell this stuff. It was sold in Europe, it was sold here in the US. Experiments were made, everybody agreed this thing is great. So then, no, I mean, they said, no, 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 no. These islands are mine. Well, then they got up here to know these islands, and then they started competing with each other, and they actually started shooting each other over bird poo-poo, okay? So that's what I call it, the guano wars. They actually happened. Well, what happened was that The Chileans have always been very efficient in the business of war, and they have a very good navy, always had it, so they won. They took what they wanted and they left, so everybody had a little piece of guano that they could sell, all right? So that's the guano wars. Humans, you know, we go over to war for anything, okay? This is a picture taken in 1875. This is all guano being exploited, company-wise. Look at the height of it. How many birds? Okay? And here's a typical 19th century operation. And this is not 19th century, this is a little closer. They're still going over there and digging up guano to sell it as fertilizer, okay? Slaves, remember, slaves, they got sent over there, okay? Let's not talk about that. We already talked about the slavery too much. But along with guano, there was something called caliche, okay? And the Incas also knew about caliche. It's a mineral, okay, you see, like that, okay? And when you crush it, okay, and you extract it with water, they found that these salts were nitrates. Later we know that nitrate. So here we go again, the nitrate wars, okay, nitrate wars. The Spanish used the mineral, yeah, for preparation of black gunpowder, and they kept it as a secret. And believe me, they guarded the place so that nobody can get this, okay? They were extracting sodium nitrate, which is very easily converted to saltpeter, potassium nitrate. So it had, shall we say, a history, okay? But remember, the Incas knew about, and predecessors knew about the value of this. It's the 1840s. Scientists were getting serious about this business of fertilizer and so on. And we have none other than Justus von Liebig in Germany. This is, I got it in the web, that was his lab. And he was doing all kinds of things, particularly with, he treated everything with sulfuric acid, okay? So he got superphosphate and this, and so he started doing fertilizer chemistry, okay? Okay, when you do that, you got products, okay? And this is the Rothamsted experiment station. I think the English shut it down. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, yeah. They still have the old rotation experiments. They kept that. But this pretty much was at the cutting edge of research. And it became obvious, yes, plants need nitrogen, they need phosphorus, they need potassium, and so forth. So here we go. Colombian exchange from caliche and guano. Get this, okay? And we got involved here too, don't worry about it, okay? Propaganda all over the world, you know, selling fertilizer. Fertilizer Corpo was formed, and they started selling fertilizer everywhere. And there was exploitation, yes. The people that worked caliche and so on, see here? Rebellions. You're not paying me enough. The place is awful. It is awful in the Atacama Desert. It never rains there, okay? And they were not treated nicely. They were living in barracks or barracoons, whichever. And this is what is left, okay? Because the good Germans learned how to fix nitrogen from the air. And when you fix nitrogen from the air, you don't have to worry about One Wars or caliche or anything. I can make, all the urea you want. Right? And that is what killed this whole business. Okay. But the leftovers give you an indication of how tough life was for the workers there. This is not politics. This happened. Okay. I presented some of this before, the cotton course, so I'll repeat most of it. The Incas were very much involved in textile dyes, okay, textile dyes, carmine red, and the cochineal bug. Let's get, you see them? Being done today, pretty much, I suspect, the way it was done prior to the arrival of the Spanish. Perhaps the looms are a little different, but they certainly could make pretty good textiles from clothing. See all these ladies working at it there. That's the cochineal bug. This animal, Dactylopsis coccus, okay, it's right there. What's it feeding on? Prickle pear. It's a pest of prickle pear. Prickle pear. Okay. It has all these products. See? Over there. See? Here's the Indian, brushing it off and collecting it. Then you air dry it, make a powder of it, and you can extract it with water. Okay, so it's easy. All right, and it held fast to cellulose. It held fast. Once it stained, you couldn't get rid of it, or at least not easily. Ideal for dyeing. Okay. Here we go again. The Canary Islands. My people come from there, and it looks like everything was always tried there before he went into, like we were, this may turn into a cemetery or something, Anyway, the island of Lanzarote, that's the active dye. And as we usually do in the islands, we improved on the Inca system, okay? So now they are produced. Okay, see that? And they collect them there, okay? And it's very good because now with everything organic and everything that has to have a natural origin and so on, guess what? We got carmine. And carmine comes from the cochineal bug, okay? So there's a market for it. And I'll stop here, this section, okay? We're not through yet. Thank you for that. But we're going to go to something else, okay? Yeah. I see a mistake. 12, okay. Excuse me. I know a mistake was made here. Let me go quickly. Okay. Not going to talk about crops now. We're going to talk about the Inca Empire. Okay. The god, creator of all things, for them was Viracocha. And that's what they represented it like. The supreme god of the Incas. Creator god, he was the father of all other Inca gods. And it was he who formed the earth, heaven, sun, moon, and all living things. Okay? I already showed you this. But this shows if you're going to manage an empire so widespread, north-south, okay, in the mountains, you're going to have and ruled by a supreme, a king, okay, an Inca is the term. You're going to have very good communications. Right? Remember, I showed you before dealing with the Romans, building roads and so on. Same thing here, except here is a lot more complicated. Okay. The Inca Empire was a federalist system. It's a federation, okay? And it was divided in the suyos. You have in a direction or northwest to southeast, 4 quarters, plus one center one, which was where the Inca was at Cusco, okay? So you have the Zapa Inca. He was the boss, no argument. Then you have 4 suyos or quarters divided. Each suyo was subdivided in 1 mile, okay? This you didn't see, we didn't see that with the Aztecs, or certainly not with the Mayas. This is a very well-organized nation. And each woman size, okay? This was Inti, the sun god. Okay? The way of warfare, if you want to call it, or more accurately, invasion. The Inca will come in, all his men lined up like that. Yes, he was carried to the front, okay? Remember, these are not modern military. These guys participated. They were right out there, okay? And then just looking at that, there was a small tribe somewhere, and they saw all of a sudden these people show up like that with picture the regalia and all of that. They were awed. They said, do you want to join us? Oh yeah, I want to join you. I don't want to say no, okay? So this went on. So Inca roads, I repeat, were essential for the running of this whole empire. And this is a road map, the road map, okay? Roads, trails, and bridges were essential political cohesion of the state to the redistribution of goods within it. Trade, military, religious, all of that was dependent on the roads. Okay. And the chasquis. Well, what do you do? There are no horses. The llama can't take your weight like a horse does, but you got chasquis. And these are messengers, you know. They're government messengers. They were physically very, very strong. They were trained to go up and down or anywhere in the empire at the command of the Inca or whoever else represented the government. Okay? To withstand cold, thirst, and fatigue, they chewed coca. They carried coca with them. And even though they were physically very, very strong, they had to cover so many miles a day. And there were teams of relay teams. So information could go up and down the empire very quickly. Okay? Sounds good, right? Okay. The chasquis carried quipus. This is a quipu. Okay? The quipu is a knotted, show it to you. Here. Head like that. And it had nuts. And the position of the nut, the color of the particular string, all of that translated into a language. So the chasquis will come, go to the next relay, okay, read that or pass it on to the next chassis, and it would so on, okay? Quipus were used primarily as mnemonic devices to communicate and record numerical information. Meaning, see control now, only the chassis could communicate with the other chassis, okay? So this was control. And this is the message you get when you study the way they ran their government, okay? It's estimated that they could cover, this system could cover 10 kilometers in 50 minutes. 10 kilometers, okay. Here, he carried chuspa. That's where he carried a little bit of lime and coca leaves, which he chewed. And in Spanish today, at least in American Spanish, the word chasquear means to do this. Okay? So this chasquear comes from the chasquis. Okay? Look, this is the road, okay? Okay. Every now and then you'll run into this, okay? Close up. Not many people in the world today can tackle this day after day after day, okay? And this is a tambo. Tambo is a way station. The chassis will get over there. There will be one or several waiting, pass on, and they continue running. So they could information could be moved very quickly. Yeah. If you compare to Europe didn't have anything like this, not even the Romans. It's close up. That's the road. I've walked over them. They're still in good shape. You can walk through it. I'm no chasqui though, so so I need help. Okay, here you go. And of course you heard of Machu Picchu and so forth. Okay, there you go. If you look at it from an engineering point of view, you're just astounded. How did they do it? Wait, there's more. Look at the workmanship. Of course, they are maintained, but look at the steps, this road. This is original. Original. Okay. Look. Chasqui comes ding, 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 ding. It goes up there. Okay. Workmanship. Okay. There are no two blocks that are the same. Each one was made independently. But look at the fitting. Okay? That's me. Okay. I got carried away. Yeah. Okay. Now, please tell me, how did they do this and move that thing and look at it? Okay. Oh, it came from outer space, by the way. They came in. They actually have gone into the madness at some kind of a outer space. Our super people came and taught the Incas how to do this. They cannot accept it. No, it was down here. Okay? John, yours?
Did they use mortar or they just put it together? Mortar.
No mortar.
No mortar.
No mortar. Yeah. And this is not limestone. This is volcanic. So it's hard to work that. Look at it. And I thought this was indicative. I mean, look at it. All right? Look, close up. They say you cannot get credit cards in there, which is a good thing, okay? Incredible. Look, close up. Yeah. I don't know what this was, but they had it surrounded, and we were moving quickly. Unfortunately, nobody, some kind of sacred stone or something, you know. But once a year or twice a year, they get together, and they have some kind of feast around this area in Cusco. Here's me. I'm still wondering what it is. Okay. And this is where they did their calculations, orientations, so forth. So they had it. The only thing that reminds me of this is in India, where they had the CAN, had an astronomical observatory, and it had the same approach. No, you don't have a small instrument. You have a big instrument. You have a big instrument over there, and you can do the calculations. Okay. You go to the market. I showed you that already. You get all kinds of stuff. Huh? I digress a little bit here. I go back to the potato. This is the potato goddess, okay? It's on the left, a healthy. On the right, a sick one, okay? This is Axomama. And why am I showing you this? This was the source of energy, okay? They were very aware that without the potato, they couldn't do anything. Moving those rocks and so on, that means energy. You got to have a source of energy. So they had a goddess, a potato goddess, Axomama. Life's balance depends on the potato plant. Firmly believed in that. Junior. Okay, I'll show you. I don't know what I was doing there, but I kind of got to talking. Couldn't talk to the woman. Her Spanish was as good as my Quechua, so there was no communication there. By the way, it sounds good. It sounds good, but it's something you hear and say, I ought to be understanding this. Heck no. Okay. It is sorts of textile. This is in the field. I already showed you. But this is actually in the field. And here I am monkeying around with all that kind of stuff. Okay. Textile. But textiles means that you can build bridges because you can make cords. All right? And they were nothing like this in the rest of the world. Okay? Look at the chasms. And here's a bridge. And they would do with the local stuff. They would put it together and then come up with pretty strong. I walked on one of these, and I had to get back. And, you know, I hated it because, man, you talk about, you have to have a certain gait because this thing moves like that. And you're looking down, man, that's it. Ooh. But they had this ability. Yeah. This is Cusco today. The cathedral. Cathedral. What's a cathedral doing there? The Spanish colonial policy towards the Inca was to destroy, obliterate anything that is smell of Indian. Okay. Because they were the devil's products. Okay. Right. So what do? You put a cathedral. Cathedral on what? Right there. This is on the base of it. It's Inca. So they say, oh, this is very nice. Oh, there's your cathedral. Okay. And of course, I'll go quickly. This is Machu Picchu. That in itself, the engineering of that. Okay. Look. Remember, you got to haul all these rocks and fit them and do all kinds of things so that you can have a town. Yeah. This is the Urubamba River. Not a nice river. Yeah. And here's one of my friends. I don't know where he is now. You can tell he was a mycologist. He was, I think, illegally desecrating, taking samples for his herbarium, but I don't know. See? Yeah, the gods were acting on him by now. Okay. Anyway. Farming in the mountains. And I keep telling you, it's difficult to farm on those mountains, okay? Everything was organized. So when they went to Ahiyu, which is a group of, could be a group of towns or groups of people that lived together, they had the mita. Mita was like the French corvée. You had to give so much work to the Inca Zapa to do whatever. It was not you to question. It was you to show up X number of days a year and work for the Inca. But yeah, if there were large projects, building roads or bridges and so on, then you also were asked to do minca. But that's for a specific large work, okay? And then there would be many communities that would come and get into it. And then within an Ahiyu, families helped each other, okay? So that Aini, and if there was a disaster, a military invasion, or something like that, then you had a chunga. So you see, everything in this society was very, and overseen, by the way. All of it was overseen and records kept. Okay. That's just to show you. Okay. Well, that's agriculture. Yeah. Close-ups. That's an open field. Very, very little of this, by the way. Okay. What went wrong? That it was so well organized. Okay? The Spanish never did well in Maya land because it wasn't organized. You see? So guerrilla war could be practiced. They saw this and said, wonderful, we just take over. Okay. Let me give you the details. Okay. Quickly. This guy was Pascual de Andagoya, Basque, okay. And he had been exploring from Panama. Panama had not been very successful settlement, even though he found it, okay. So he kept going south and hearing that there were big things further south. He returned to Panama and spread the news of the existence of a rich empire to the south. Yeah. And this guy showed up, Francisco Pizarro. You have a statue of him in Lima. He founded that city. Remember, I said they didn't want any part of anything that had to do with the Incas. Well, they founded their own town, Lima. Okay. And that is a statue of him in Spain, Trujillo. There is a palace of the conquest in Trujillo, Spain. and he is buried in the Lima Cathedral. Okay, so that's Francisco Pizarro. Okay. There were two, him and him, and they was supposed to be under him. Well, he wasn't happy about that. Okay. Make a long story short, he got killed, and he got killed. And always, you know, when I grew up, part of my high school was in Spain, and they always showed you this. They're over here, here's Panama, and then moving down, they get to the roosters, Gallo, the rooster island, okay? And the guys said, I don't know, this may be true, maybe not. So Pizarro is said to have drawn a line on the sand. And he said, there lies Peru with its riches. Here, Panama and its poverty. Choose each man what best becomes a brave Castilian. Okay? For my part, I go south. So that started the whole fandango. He was fortuitous in that this perfectly structured Inca system of government was in trouble because it was based in the inheritance of the Inca. And the Huayna Capac had two children, two men. One was legitimate and the other one was illegitimate. And they both wanted to be the Inca, so they started fighting, okay? Well, sorry for this. There was Huáscar and Atahualpa. Atahualpa won. There was a civil war and they won, okay? Here's Atahualpa, and here's his father, okay? While he had just defeated his brother, and while he was waiting there, some messenger, one of his Chasqui, showed up, and he said some funny people. They had come across some funny people, and that these people were coming. Well, he was in Cajamarca. What? Pizarro sent none other than Hernando de Soto. Yeah, the same one that was here. He got around, and he brought Atahualpa to Pizarro. Okay. These people that the Spanish had, not all, but many of them were tercio people, and I told you about tercio people. These were people who understood tactics, and when they got into war, they really meant it. So when they saw the Inca coming in with us, you know, being carried, they just took him and proceeded to butcher the rest of the Inca army. That's the story. Here are the Incas, here are the Spanish with the horses. Pizarro gave him a Bible to listen. The guy says, I don't hear anything, throw the Bible down. Boom, that's it. So Pizarro used his advanced and tactics, killed over 2,000 men that one day. And he had Atahualpa. Okay. Then he told them this, you heard this story, I'll set you free if you fill this room with gold. Order goes out through the Chasquis, bring gold and silver and fill it up, and then they'll free me. No, they just garroted him. They strangled him. Oh. Yeah. Something happened here. Okay. The Spanish set up the encomienda system. I already went through that with you. And basically, Native and Caribbean South, Native would receive protection. So land that was allocated with Indians. Okay, so the crown gave you the land and the Indians to work it with. Okay, but remember, you have to convert them to Christianity. But if you convert it to Christianity, then you couldn't have them as slaves. So. Right to the land, slave the people, cheap labor. I show you this. Conceptually, this is the way that middle and late medieval Europe saw society. Here's the Inca, okay, and the nobleman. They had all of this going, and was translated like this. Spanish born, okay? Then you have Creoles, mulattoes, and so forth down here. That's it. Centuries of this. Centuries of this. Then they started fighting with each other. It turns out that Pizarro's brother, Gonzalo Pizarro, had a weird idea. I want to become independent. We don't need a Spain. So we're going to create a nation right here. But it didn't work out that way. Spain sent the people. The Viceroy Francisco de Toledo, okay. He put an end to that, executed Gonzalo quickly, you're out of the way. And there was this guy, the first viceroy. A viceroyalty was created, and this was the first viceroy, Francisco de Toledo. Of course, the Incas didn't give up easy. Tupac Amaru was the last Inca, and he tried to set up an independent kingdom. Well, Spain had the answer. This guy, an incredible warrior, had been in the French wars, had been in the Italian war, knew all about fighting. He went over there, took this new place, and he said they marched off taking the artillery route Arbeto, his own account, and at 10 o'clock they marched into the city of Vilcabamba. That was the new, and that was the end of it. Okay. They reestablished it. They took over. They took over. Okay. I know what happened, but anyway. So there's today. There's Lima. You can look down, right, whatever. You're not going to find any Indian thing in this city. It's a 100% Spanish city today. The viceroyalty system established was the viceroyalty of Peru, viceroyalty of La Plata, of New Spain, and this was a dukedom in there, all established. 280 years of this. Okay. Anyway. Well, he put them together, messed up my colors, but anyway. The conclusions I'll give you is that probably of all the indigenous cultures that we dealt in this course, this was the most European-like, and therefore the easiest for the Spanish to conquer, because so well organized that all they had to do is just push the boss out. I am the new boss, and I'm marrying the nobility, and they did. And then down from there. There were no rebellions anymore. Anytime that anybody rebelled, it was quickly taken care of. So it was a sad thing. But on the other hand, the products that came out of this exchange, cruel as it was, have been magnificent for the world. The potato, so forth. Thank you very much. And this is the last of this course. And I want, on behalf of all of us, Joan and Sonny, okay, thank you for you. I'm not teaching in the spring, okay? I'm not teaching. Merely because I won't be in, but next year there may be something, right, Charles? Okay. Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
You're from the Canaries, right?
my people are here.
Okay. Is there a distinct difference in the culture of the Canaries from the Iberian Spanish?
Absolutely, absolutely. The Canarians speak more like the Latin Americans, not Mexican. I'm talking about South Americans, okay? Customs are different. Even with TV and all of that, you can tell the difference just listening. The pitch and even words. We don't have time, but there's so many words. From the Incas, the Spanish learned administration. They didn't have this kind of organization. A lot of it, not even from the Romans, a lot of us was adopted for the purpose of continuing the Inca system. Okay. So but the Canaries always have been kind of the, they said they claim that America is the 8th island. There are 7 islands, and America is the 8th island. Okay, they say that. Okay.